Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast, and today we're in the iconic Manhattan Center, and we're going to learn about it today because my guest is Peter Ross, who's been the longtime general counsel here. You know, I met Peter, oh my gosh, I'm really dating myself here, but as if the gray hair didn't give it away. Or Peter's, who you'll see any minute. We met each other almost 30 years ago. And we were exploring different topics thanks to a great engineer and producer, Jay Messina, who created our introduction, who recorded some really cool things here. And Peter can share insights about this building that has hosted some of the most amazing concerts, recordings, soundtracks. So please say hi to Peter Ross.
And hello, Diane. Lovely to be here today in a place that looks fairly familiar to me.
Have you ever recorded in TV2 before?
Have I been recorded in TV2? Not that I know, no. No. I've watched a lot go on here, but I've never been recorded.
What kind of things?
I'm still waiting for my great break, and maybe this is it, Diane.
This is it, Peter. This is it. We're having a big break at Manhattan Center right now.
Good.
In TV2.
Yes.
Can you think of anything that did record here in TV2 that
I
sticks
can
out in your
think
memory?
of lots of things that have been recorded here. ESPN, when we had them in our TV1, we're in TV2 at the moment. Mm-hmm. But this is our TV2, our smaller studio. ESPN, when we had them in TV1, they had a couple of shows that they would do here. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to, as they roll into my head and pop into my head and whatever I may feel from the vibe now that I'm under the lights. Ed Brown, famous reporter out of Chicago, he did a series, he was here for several weeks doing his news broadcast. Jenny McCarthy was here for her show on Bravo, and she would have a live audience here with a band performing, and it was a very animated show, and I believe quite successful, and it was part of her rebranding and doing other things. Mm-hmm. We've had location shoots here. Mm-hmm. We've had Pace Magazine when they were here with us doing some of their small, intimate music performances. They would shoot some of them here. Let me see who else. And then from time to time, different location shoots.
You know, when you talk about location shoots, that one night I'm sitting watching, I think it was on Amazon, has produced the series Friends and Family with John Hamm, and I'm sitting watching it, and I'm like, wait a second, that's the log cabin. That's the log cabin at Manhattan Center.
Yes. It's nice when it shows up in different places, and if I was back in the day where something was happening here, it was always nice to point out to my kids who, of course, are a lot cooler than I am, and I could say, look, and point out, that's where I work. So yes, this is a terrific place. And one of the things I like about here is it's an intimate set, but the control room that governs and runs the set, where we do the television production, the control room and all the facilities that go along with it, engineering, tech core, and all of that are just adjacent here. Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of live broadcasts, of course, from here. But that same control room is usually the control room that is used when we're doing big TV galas and specials from either, and I know we'll get to them, from either our Grand Ballroom or our Hammerstein Ballroom.
Let's talk about those, because this facility to me is, I think it's still, to some degree, it's just a secret treasure within New York. You know, people think of, let's say, Madison Square Garden, or, because it's been there for also forever, or maybe they think
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah, it's right.
But when I think of the uniqueness of Manhattan Center, you've got two incredible concert halls that could be used for recordings or concerts or events. Mm-hmm. And then you've got TV studios, recording studios. Yes. It's such an unique treasure
It
in New
is.
York to have that all in one.
Yes.
Let's talk about, because your acoustics are also amazing. There are some places you can go to in New York, and I won't name some of those competitors, but they are
Can I?
brutal. You can. You can. You know, there are some that are just, you think of them as concert halls, but they're brutal
Yeah.
for sound.
Right.
The acoustics, every time I walk into, particularly the Grand,
Yes.
I just want to go up on that stage and sing even though I can't sing, because the acoustics hit you the minute you walk in that
Yes.
room. What kind of things? Let's start at the Grand and work our way down to the Hammerstein.
Okay.
What have you recorded in the Grand? And what makes that room so special? Because it is.
Okay. What makes the Grand so special is that it was built in 1922 by the Scottish Masons, the ancient order of Freemasonry, and they were renowned for building very elegant rooms for their own purposes, for their own meetings, and in some cases allowing their meeting spaces to be used by others. We'll start. Well, we're jumping around the history,
Yeah.
so let's start with the
Yeah,
Scottish
let's
Masons.
start any place you want,
No,
because I want
I'm-
the full history here, because I
Yes.
love this place.
Well, one thing I'm going to do, Diane,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to answer your questions. so you
Oh,
asked.
you know, my questions go all over the place.
Yes, but I'm going to answer the one that's in play. So it's a beautiful, vibrant room built on top of our larger venue, which is the Hammerstein Ballroom, and it was built when the Scottish Masons built that, when they acquired the building, and didn't necessarily know what to do with an opera house, but knew what they wanted to do for their own purposes.
So then let's go backwards for the
Okay.
sake of history and so I can understand this. So the Hammerstein was an opera house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was built in 1906 by Oscar Hammerstein the First, and I just, Ken Burns, if you're looking, we need to do a documentary on Oscar Hammerstein the First, or we need to do a film, a full-blown film. He is he is an extraordinary character who had an indelible influence on New York. On theater, on music, on many, many facets of life. And so if I go back to who he was for a few moments.
Yeah, please.
He grew up in Pomerania, which I had to look up some time back. It is a place that would be somewhere on the border of Germany and Poland.
Huh.
He grew up in a middle-class family, the eldest son. And he was greatly influenced by his mother, who had real musical chops and imbued that in her eldest son. He loved music. He loved classical music, but he fell in love with opera.
Wow.
So at the age of 15, his mother died, and a combination of reasons, but one being, well, I can think of two things because many of us in this city and in this country are immigrants, but something was calling him to be elsewhere than where he grew up. And the fact that his mother died, and that his father was not a very caring, loving, non-brutal person. So at the age of 15, he hopped on a boat and came to New York and landed here, middle of the Civil War.
Oh my gosh.
New York City. And his first job was sweeping the floor of a tobacco factory, earning $3 a week. Within a few years, the first thing he started to do was learn his trade. And after some years, he actually founded an industry journal on the tobacco industry in New York. He rose up through the ranks. He looked at how things were being done, and in his own innovative and creative way, introduced new changes to the industry of making cigars. Some of his inventions were patented. And he was obviously quite successful. And he even revised the paper that is used for rolling cigars. So on the foundation of his 15, 20-year career in the tobacco industry, cigar making industry, he established a financial foundation upon which he could pursue his real passion. And his real passion, as it was imbued in him from his mother, was music, and in particular, opera. And so he wanted to build, his ultimate goal was to build an opera house. So
Thus,
this
Manhattan
is the Oscar
Center, the Oscar Hammerstein's first ballroom.
Yes. No. It's not even his first opera house.
Really?
His first opera house was called the Harlem Opera House in 125th Street, which was Scrabble, country, goats, sheep, cows, not too many people living there. But he thought, if I build a theater, they will come. And in order to induce people to come, he actually built a residential, about 55 dwelling places.
Wow.
Then built a second studio, a second theater there. And people started to go uptown to the Harlem Opera House. Big name people who would be in the city, they would make it up there. And people would go up there because he, with his innovative mind, he designed everything impeccably. The sound, you were talking about the sound, the sound, the lights, the colors, the experience, and his real passion was to make opera accessible to ordinary people, as opposed to the stush, as my Jamaican friends would say, the snobby stush people who were going to the Met, not to really listen to the music, although I'm sure many
for the
did,
social experience.
to be seen and to see and to gather the news of the day. So 2 theaters uptown by now. Then he built the first Manhattan Opera House, which was on 34th Street, probably the site of where Macy's is.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God, this history is fantastic.
Yeah, and that proved to be a financial disaster because he wanted to hire the best artists, the best musicians, get the best costumes, get the best production people, and it adds up.
Oh, yeah.
And on the back end, you want to make the ticket price accessible for ordinary people, if they've never experienced opera before, to come and experience it. And once they would experience it, they would keep coming back. But his intention was less about the money and more about his passion for what he was doing. So I'll just say a few more things before we come back.
Please do. No, I find this really fascinating because, you know, you can see things built by particularly, I don't know, the example you just gave is so perfect, that someone had this passion for music and opera, because when you do walk in that room, whether it's, you know, lighting, the structure of the room, whatever it is that, the Hammerstein, everything that goes into the sound effect, you know, how the balcony is done, everything. Yeah. You know, you really say, I wonder if someone who didn't love opera could have created this. I'm not so, if you were just straight an architect, it's like that passion for something and bringing it into permanence fascinates me.
A funny story to shoot forward.
Yeah.
And you will bring me back to your question. But anyway.
Whatever that was.
There was a Dublin band called The Script. Quite famous. And they're still playing. They're a top shelf.
You know something about Dublin?
A little bit, yes. I only spent about 20 years there. Okay. So I grew up, I could smell Guinness being made. And not only Dublin, as you know, as long as you've known me, I don't just say I'm from Dublin. I go north side because it was the scrappy part of Dublin. But The Script came, and they had just shown up ready to start their sound check. And I went down and introduced myself, and I knew something of their music. And I remember, I think it was the drummer, and they're just standing on the stage. And they look into the room, And if you come in there and it's empty, it kind of looks cavernous.
Mm-hmm.
But they're used to playing different venues, and they
Yeah.
get a feel for a room pretty fast. But he looked up, the boxes on the sides, 3 on each side, the 2 working balconies facing him, and the floor. And he said, "This is so intimate."
Exactly.
And I said, "I'm glad you see that. And tonight, I can tell you, you can see the eyes of most people in this room while you're playing,
Oh, that just gave me goosebumps.
and they can see yours." And so I think to see a touring band, 3,500 people. We had Fontaine's DC
I told
here
you.
a little while ago.
Oh my gosh, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Because the last one I think I saw here was New Order
Okay.
about, I don't know, 10 years ago or something. And they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the whole experience was unbelievable. But being in that first balcony or second balcony, looking down at the crowd, the energy as the crowds
Yeah.
came in, as the balconies filled up,
Mm-hmm.
and those are 2 big balconies up there.
Mm-hmm.
And as the crowd started to
550
move,
apiece, yeah.
it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's why when you mentioned that other place across the street, I said, yeah, I'd heard of it. But I've been to shows there. And
not
I have to
the same.
say, Diane, for someone who loves music and comes from the only country in the world that has a musical symbol as its
Mm-hmm.
national symbol,
Yeah.
a music instrument as its national symbol, the harp,
Yeah.
it's just in my DNA. But to be able to be in a room like that, as intimate as it is, and to see that quality of touring bands come through, never mind the other bands who show up for private galas, television specials. One of my favorites used to be Country Music Television used to come here, part of the whole MTV, VH1 family.
Yeah.
And they had a show, I think it still continues in some iteration or other, but it was called Crossroads. And
yeah.
you would take a country artist and a non-country artist, and they would perform together. And the unusual nature of them getting together in such a way always produced some magic, because the country artist has been the country artist, the rocker's been the rocker or pop singer, whoever it was.
That is so interesting. And talk about something ahead of its time. Just this weekend, I was in a car with our 25-year-old daughter. And she's like, I'm one of those people who flips the dial, flips the dial. Maybe I listen for, a minute of the song, then I flip the dial.
Yeah.
She's like, Mom, hold it there. This is the new trend. It's country singers with pop stars.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And duets and collaborations and all that. Something magical happens when people are out of their lane. And, one of them I can think of was Brad Paisley and John Mayer downstairs.
Oh, wow.
The other one I loved, and I don't know if I'm allowed to tell a story, but the other one was...
Tell it anyway.
Okay. Dave Matthews and Emmylou Harris upstairs in the Grand Ballroom. Yes.
Interesting combo.
Yes. Yeah, what can I say about the song? Or the performance.
Did you like it?
I did. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I'll try and tell it somewhat discreetly. So they're doing the sound check, and I will describe Dave Matthews as we all would recognize. He's singing away, he's on the guitar, and he's in the microphone, and he's just going at it. Emmylou is Queen, Regal Emmylou, and she's doing the duet, the harmony. Dave screeches to a halt when the song finishes. He says something to her. I'll just say that. He says something to her, and she looks at him, and she walks over to him, and she just puts her arm around him, and they walk to the back of the stage of our Grand Ballroom, which is a very large stage. They have a few words, and they come back. Emmylou is exactly the same, and Dave is...
Chill.
Changed. and ready to continue.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're sitting in the front row. Whoa.
What just happened?
What just happened? But the beauty of what happened, whatever it was, they came back, and when they performed together, it was just a fantastic evening. And these duets and collaborations only
I
give
love
rise to
those.
that. Yeah.
I mean, my daughter laughs at me. My husband got me to listen to Rob Thomas at one point.
Oh,
And when he did his collaboration Smooth with Carlos Santana,
yes.
which I think was a Clive Davis idea. But when they put those two together, I mean, I could just listen to the combo
Yes.
over and over and over again
Yes.
because there's something just so sexy and
Yes.
cool and ageless. You've got such a span of
Yes.
musical talent, but it all merges.
Yes.
Totally different styles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was here when they sang together in the Hammerstein.
Oh, now you're making me really jealous.
the-
Where was I?
Towards the end of the Supernatural tour. And it's a long story, but I can...
Give us some color on that.
Okay, I'll give you some color. I'm born on Halloween.
Yeah.
And my good friend, her name is Obie O'Brien, who is the director of operations for our studios, is born exactly one day after me. And so somewhere around those dates, I think it might have been actually on her birthday, and they were performing. Carlos was performing with other artists, not everybody who was on, but Rob Thomas was there. And it was almost like the ultimate finale. And everybody in the place is dancing, just dancing. We had a little pregame, and we were in perfect form dancing. And the concert, that whole album is just extraordinary. And to see Carlos live,
Unbelievable.
magic, mystical, doing his thing was just a treat. But they get to Supernatural, Smooth. And everybody's dancing with everybody. I'm in our box. We have a box that's kind of a VIP box. And everybody's dancing with each other, and I'm dancing. And then, everything comes to a close, and everybody leaves. I walk in the next morning, and I pass Obie's desk, and I say, Obie, what a treat for you. On your birthday that you could have this concert. And she looked at me, and she just said, well, you certainly enjoyed yourself. I said... Me? Didn't you enjoy yourself? Everybody in the house enjoyed themselves. She said, well, you were dancing with? And I said, somebody, we're all dancing. She said, that was Carlos Santana's wife.
Oh.
I went, oh, okay.
Were you behaving yourself at those dance
Of course I
moves?
was. I was being the perfect host. I wanted to make
As you
sure
would
everybody
be.
was comfortable in dancing.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Great night.
What a memory.
back to Oscar.
Yeah.
So he had built the two at 125th Street.
You have a career as a comedian.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you might because you're very good at recall. Bring it back to where we were. Get
That's
the
a
hook back in.
professional occupation. Bring the witness back. So we got two up on 125th Street, the Manhattan Opera House on 34th Street, Macy's Way. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to Times Square, and he builds at least another 5 theaters over as many years.
Wow.
And that's why he came to be known as the father of Times Square. There was no Times Square. It was called Longacre Square at that time. And about 10 years later, it became known as Times Square. So by the time he came here in 1906 to build the Manhattan Opera House, because the first one floundered, the Harlem one went its own course. We're now at 1906, but he's already built about 7 theaters before he got here.
Oh my gosh.
And in each place, looking for innovation, design, sound, music, artists, and all the time following his passion. He wanted people to have a good time, like the night with Supernatural in the Hammerstein. He wanted everybody to have a good time, and ordinary people, and paying a good price. So you can see the inevitable collision.
Yeah.
On the one hand, trying to do it all, and on the other hand, trying to take care of all. But it's hard to do. So his real passion was opera, and so he built this building in 1906 and as an opera house. And in mid-December of 1906, the first performance couldn't curtains opened, and I think it was a Bellini opera, and I forget who starred in it and how it went, but it was well received. And for the next 4 years, he was doing opera here until 1910.
Wow. I loved hearing that history.
Yeah.
Did you read that in a book? How'd you find all that out?
Well,
Where'd you find that history?
It's not a single book, but when we reopened, when Manhattan Center Studios did a renovation of the opera, what was a building, a venue downstairs that had been, the original opera house had long gone, and it had been changed over the years. But then somebody thought to bring it back to its former grandeur, and so it was a stripped down demolition. And so it looked like something from a war zone.
Oh my gosh.
Stripped down.
I can't even imagine that, because you walk into them now, they're truly magical. You feel like you're looking at gorgeous architecture.
Yes.
And I mean, when I look up and I see those, what do you call them? The balconies and the booths.
Yes.
They're just
the boxes.
The boxes.
Yes.
They're so pretty.
And the ceiling.
The ceiling. Oh my gosh.
The original ceiling had been closed off back in the 40s.
Huh.
The third balcony had been closed.
Closed like they covered it?
Yeah, they didn't use it.
Really?
Yes. And the floor got changed. It wasn't anymore a raked floor with an orchestra pit, as you would need for opera. So it had undergone a major change before the strip down, anticipating returning it to its former grandeur. So
how long did that renovation take? Around what year did
it reopened in 97, so probably about 2 years.
Wow.
The renovation. It was done in-house with a lot of our own people and team, and obviously a lot of additional, architects, engineers, and everything else were brought on, and an additional staff to do that. But it opened in, I think it was a post-Grammy Sony. It was a post-Grammy Sony after party was the first event after it had been opened and renovated. And then it became, the hottest house in New York City, because it's the new venue. You can use it for music. You can use it for special events. Next year, it won two awards, Polestar, and I forget the other industry magazine, the best new venue. And it got off to a roaring start, and it's been roaring ever since.
Now, you said you've got concerts here.
Yes.
You've got, what kind of events do you throw? Corporate events? Or are they industry events? What kind of events happen downstairs?
We do, yes, it runs the whole gamut of anything you can imagine. We do product launches.
Really?
Yeah, Samsung a couple of years ago did a major product launch.
That's interesting.
And I love going down there when you have a client of that caliber, booking in here for about 2 weeks, completely redoing the room. And I go down just to see what's happening. And you walk into the room and it's just completely transformed. Pirelli Tires did every year they go around the world, and I think it's celebrating their, another birthday. And they did a major event here. So product launches, fashion shows.
Oh.
Corporate events, dinner and speakers, media tours. The CEO comes here, some tech company, a panel on the stage, and it's been broadcast internationally or broadcast domestically. Fundraising events, political fundraising events. One of my favorite events. Senator Obama was here with Mrs. Obama. And they were doing a big fundraiser, DNC sponsored. And the music for that evening were Billy Joel and Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
And Sade and somebody else. And to see those two perform and interact was just extraordinary. Nonprofits, Nile Rodgers still comes here. His nonprofit is We Are Family, of course.
Yeah.
And he will usually give an award to some celebrity, and then that celebrity will come. And if it's a musician, then they will play together. One of my favorite ones in recent years was We Are Family, we're honoring Bono.
Oh, wow.
So Bono came, and, there's the dinner and whatever announcements. Sometimes if it's a nonprofit, there may be a silent auction and then a live auction. And then the music performance starts. So Bono came, he was honored. He said a few words, as he's wont to do. A few words turned into a few more words, and gave a lovely, gracious speech. And then he started singing with the band. And then about his fourth song, I saw him do what he had done at the sound check. And I've met him when he has been here over times. But when the dinner and all the proceedings are over, the music starts, people tend to stand up and move towards the stage because they want to start dancing and partying and get close. About halfway through his final song, he walks off the stage, walks in front of the stage where the densest portion of the crowd is. They make space and they can't believe he's walking among us. And he's still singing. And he's looking back at the band and singing. And then he turns around and he continues to sing, walks into the middle of the room, stands up in a chair, finishes his song, steps down, hands the microphone to somebody, and he walks out the front of the Manhattan Center.
That would leave a lot of people speechless.
Yes. Yeah. Alicia Keys is coming here again this year, Keep a Child Alive. It's an organization that does great work in Africa, primarily treating children with AIDS. And she is the patron celebrity for that event. And she's been great to meet, great to see perform. And again, the great thing about those events, similar to the Crossroads, you got Bono singing with Cheek and Nile Rodgers.
Right.
Now you got Alicia Keys and whoever she may have invited. Lenny Kravitz was one night.
Wow.
And they perform. And it's, again, one of these great evenings. U.S. Ski and Sports. The foundation that runs all of U.S. skiing and winter sports, they did a big fundraiser here, and Sheryl Crow was the main act. And after they showed some of the artists, some of the skiers and, skiers and skaters show how they train for some things, huge, big trampolines on the stage. Then all that dramatic stuff finishes, the dinner, the fundraising, and then along comes Sheryl and knocks it out of the ballpark. So,
it's really
fascinating
events, how transitional the room is, how it can go from, tables and dinners to concerts at the same night to live auctions to displays on stage to a band on stage. It's really phenomenal.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You triggered a memory of, we've done, in both venues, we do a lot of sports. And martial arts. Yes, boxing, wrestling, mixed martial arts, WWE type wrestling, and other events. But one night I was there, and it was the top of the bill in the boxing was a Orthodox Jewish boxer somewhere in Eastern Europe. The ring girls were not allowed to wear their usual attire. They had to robe up, and he was expected to win. I'll just say the judges gave him the win. And right after he stopped on the stage, the ring was set up in the round underneath the 75-foot ceiling. And after the boxing finished, the stage was further back towards our building goes from 34th Street to 35th Street, the stage being closer to 35th Street. And when he finished, lights came up and there was Matisyahu performing. And it was it was early in his career, he was well established by then, but to segue from boxing. And
my gosh.
Now you got a Matisyahu live music performance. It was great. I had a couple of my boys here that night, so. They got boxing and they got music.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now, is it producers that come in and set these things up, or event production companies? How does that work?
Most of the top shelf events that are held here, the client will come with a production company, but that production company will inevitably interact with our own in-house production team. So depending upon the size and the scope of the event, we can do the production or we collaborate.
Got
and
it.
obviously, if somebody's coming into the house, they need to know where the plugs are. But it's far more than that. The full integration of top shelf production companies coming to work with our top shelf production in-house team, and they make it seamless.
Now let's talk further about that, because we've been talking about the Hammerstein and the grand events you can have here.
Yes.
You've also got iconic recording studios.
Yes.
And you've had some interesting people in those studios, including people that have made them their homes almost. And they've rehearsed here and recorded here and engineered here and produced here. So give us some scoop on that, Peter.
Okay. Well, again, we're very fortunate because of our studios are well acclaimed, well appreciated for what's in the studios. And again, our staff who are interacting with whoever it is that's coming in. We've had a great roster of producers who have been here over the years. Jack Douglas, a whole range of
Indirectly
people.
how I met you in the first place.
Yes,
Jack.
courtesy of Jack.
Yeah.
Jack, if you're listening, thank you for introducing me to Diane.
Yes, thank you, Jack. And Jay Messina also.
Great producers. One of the standouts is Timbaland. And mid-90s, he pretty much made the Log Cabin, which is one of our studios that is intended to provide artists with a getaway space.
And that's
a
exactly
space.
what it feels like.
Yeah. Stone and rock and
logs.
And logs. Very big trees that when they were put in there by our team, who designed in-house and built in-house, obviously with expert support, mechanics and engineers and architects. But the trees, one of our production guys, he used to be a roadie with an English band for many years, but he became our director of production. He was dispatched upstate to go to a tree farm to buy trees, to make logs, to put in the studio. Robert Carvel is his name. And so he showed up at the tree farm. He said, I'd like some trees, please. And the farmer said, well, which trees? Well, trees for our studio. Okay, we'll pick them. So he picked the trees with the farmer. They cut them down. They shipped them down. And because they were so recently harvested, they were put in place after some drying out and whatever. But in some of the early days, people would be in the studio and they would hear an unusual sound. But it was just the trees adjusting themselves to settle into place between the stone and the rock and the floor. So, but Timbaland made it his studio and had a great array of artists come in here. Missy Elliott, Aaliyah, Justin Timberlake, and his great engineer, Jimmy Douglas. And we got to see somebody become whatever status he was at when he came, but become, a national and a global figure. And the amount of music he recorded here was extraordinary. And what our staff used to be amazed by, a lot of things would get done and it would get inventoried. And he could recall, not from a computer, he would recall, remember that track? And he would send one of our crew up there to retrieve the track, bring it down, whether it was done a year ago, 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, and he'd integrate it into whatever he was doing. One of my favorites was meeting my hero, Tom Petty, in our log cabin. He had just dropped one of his solo albums and was doing a Clear Channel nationwide promotion. A DJ from LA came out, interviewed him, play a track, chit-chat, play a track, chit-chat. and it was just wonderful to have him here. But that's Studio 4. If you're good, I would like to talk about Studio 7.
Please do. I want to hear about them all.
So we can get to film score.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll talk about film score.
So we're talking about concerts. We're talking about events.
Yes.
We're talking about recording albums.
Yes.
If they use the word albums these days, you know,
Yes.
sound. And now we're going into film scores.
Film score, yes.
What's the difference in?
Well, film
And
score,
how does this work?
as we all know, it's an accepted factor of, a musical experience is hearing the music and how the music contributes to a given film. But we didn't always have film scores.
Yeah.
In fact, up until 1926, there was no such thing as a film score. You had somebody playing an organ,
Right.
or you had a little band or an orchestra playing. And it's funny these days to see recreations of that, where Red Bull will produce events. It's a movie, and they'll have a live orchestra playing. And that's how it was before Warner Brothers perfected their Videophone system in 1926. And we can say, and we continue to do film score, we can say we've been doing it longer than anybody else, because the very first film score was done in our Grand Ballroom in 1926.
Really?
By the Warner Brothers. The movie was Don Juan. They had done a lot of recording in a studio in Brooklyn, but it wasn't quite working and it wasn't quite going right. So they moved things over to here, Manhattan Center, and to our Grand Ballroom, and got it and finished it. And it was, even though there was no talking in the movie. And I like that. My takeaway is music always comes first. So it was a silent film, but a film that had an integrated film score in it. And the Warner Brothers then were very happy with what they had done and their experience. And they went to the West Coast, and the rest is history. So,
it's so interesting when you think of film scores, because you don't often think about them, but I could have been Steven Spielberg or someone getting lectured, and he talked about, or maybe it was the person who did his film scores, saying, here's the movie. If you've seen it, what comes to your mind and what's missing when you watch this? And with that film score absent, like, I can't listen to the song Layla anymore, even though I've always loved the song, without thinking of the scene in Goodfellas or whatever it is, with them driving, or you think of, any movie, how that film score changes every aspect of how you remember the movie or how you feel.
Yes.
Wow. Are you doing film scores still now?
Yes. The most recent film score we did was for Spike Lee.
Wow.
For his movie that's going to be released, I believe, sometime before Christmas. High and Low, or Highest and Lowest. It's a take on a Kurosawa film. And the score was done here. But you mentioned something, and you prompt another story, Diane.
Yeah, tell me.
Getting what did you say? Getting lectured or getting told off or something?
Yes.
Okay. So... So one of our great fans in the film score world is Elliot Goldenthal and his significant other, Julie Taymor. When Julie gets an independent film, Elliot, who's a classical music composer, I'm not going to say anything, he will always get the film from Julie, get the opportunity to do the film score.
Wow.
And so I heard he was here. One of the films they did here, or he did the film score for, was Frida, for which he won an Oscar for Best Film Score. I don't think it was Frida, but some other film, and I heard he was here. So I got myself together and I came down. It was a 120-piece orchestra.
Oh my gosh.
On the floor of the Grand Ballroom. And I don't think we got to this before, but the natural acoustics of that room are special.
Special's the perfect word, because they are so unusual. You can only say special.
Yes. So I see him. It's a quiet moment. And I go over. I was president of the company, I think, at the time. And I went over and introduced myself, welcomed him yet again, and thanked him for being here, and he said something nice about the room. Nice was maybe he said something more. He paid a beautiful compliment to the room, but he said it to me. And as I explained earlier, I'm from Northside Dublin, and I've had discussions with some of my Irish friends from time to time. Why can't we accept a compliment?
It's always a good question.
Yeah. And I came up with, in the wee hours of the morning, after much discourse with a friend of mine, a singer-songwriter from Ireland, and it's this: when you've been oppressed for 400-something years and subject to all sorts of abusive laws and whatever else, when somebody above pays you a compliment, you're never too sure, is the hand coming back? So we tend to shy, or some people might interpret it as modesty, but it's something else. Anyway, back to Elliot.
Very interesting.
So Elliot says something good about the room, and I do something pathological and just let it go by. And he cut it. And so we started off about this distance apart. And my recollection, he certainly moved towards me.
Ooh.
And as he's moving towards me, he's telling me just how good this room is. And he recites to me, getting about midway, I've done 75 film scores all around the world, Peter, including Abbey Road and other places. And now he's almost, not quite.
Right.
But
moving in, giving you the body language.
And almost within finger in the peck closeness. And he says at the end, and your job is to protect this room.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
this is my second time getting goosebumps during this.
And now I'm going to bring this back to Dave Matthews. I was a little bit like Dave Matthews after Emmylou had spoken to him. And I realized this was a compliment of all compliments.
It is.
But when the Scottish Masons built it, it's curved.
That almost makes me feel teary. I mean, that's like a really, it's a very moving compliment.
Yes.
And it's an honor to have been told it by someone so accomplished like that.
Yes. And that's why just about every time I give a tour, I have to honor Elliot by pointing out just what he did and helped me and what it said about the room. But we're very fortunate, and I'll come back around. Steven Spielberg's redo of West Side Story was done. All of the music was done in the Grand Ballroom using our Studio 7, because I just about an hour ago was talking about Studio 4, and now I'll talk about Studio 7. It is integrated with both ballrooms, and most especially with the Grand Ballroom, because that's where we do our film scores or Broadway cast albums or other classical music performances, because they love the room.
Now,
for
wait a
its
second.
natural acoustics.
Now, you're saying integrated. So someone could be recording, let's say, a concert in the Grand.
Yes.
But you're picking that up in Studio 7, and you can
The
be
mix.
recording.
And
Wow.
TV2 control room, we can be live broadcasting it. So in that instance, and I'm glad you mentioned it, it's using one of our recording studios, using our control room, and using our venue. In this case, the Grand Ballroom.
Okay, this is definitely something that should be repeated more than once. So I want to make sure we get this, because frankly, I'm going to make this a clip because it's a really good point.
Okay.
So someone could come in here. They can host a concert, have a concert.
People come in here. Sorry.
Yes. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, let's hear
No,
it.
please.
No, let's take it from the top.
So people come in here.
Yep.
And they...
Into Manhattan Center.
To Manhattan Center with all the efficiencies we offer by extending, in this case, let's say it's a live music show. And in fact, go back to Crossroads. We don't have trucks. So we have our TV2 control room. They're broadcasting it live or recording it for later broadcast. The music is going to be mixed in Studio 7, right adjacent to the Grand Ballroom. And then the broadcast will be done out of our TV control. And right down the hall from the control room is our transmission room. And it can go anywhere. And that's why I often say, Diane, all roads lead to the Manhattan Center, and all roads lead from the Manhattan Center. So Steven Spielberg is here for West Side Story. All of it done here. And I come in, a kid who fell in love with America because of watching movies when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
The West Side Story. I loved it.
Yes.
I was a huge John Wayne fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I come in, I'm on my way to work, and this is one of the loveliest things about working in a building like this. And I'm ready to go into my office, and I know they're in, and figure they're probably due to start. I sneak into the upper balcony, and I can look down on the floor. The orchestra's ready. Dude Amal lifts his baton, and it's the prelude to Maria.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm on my way to work. I love this film. And in that room,
I mean, I'm like, seriously, Peter, I think that's now the third or fourth time. I literally got goosebumps as you're telling stories. That's such a funny physical reaction to get these stories.
Oh, well, good.
Wow.
Yeah. And yes, it's a very uncommon place and a very special place. And Oscar, I think, we take seriously the historical legacy that we inherit. And I think we try not to forget it. And what was he doing? Trying to produce the highest quality entertainment for ordinary New Yorkers. Why? They could be entertained. But more than being entertained, they could be changed. Their life could be improved. Yeah. They could have some inspiration while they're here and go from here and design some great building or be the best teacher or be a great music teacher or suddenly remember something that they had forgotten along life's journey and go home. But I like to think that part of what we're doing here is engaging people, elevating people, and ennobling their lives by what we're extending and what our clients are coming in and producing. And that makes it a transformative place.
I think you're nailing that, in a lot of ways. I know when I walk in here to record these podcasts,
yes,
it's such a, first of all, I love the sound in this room. It feels like it's got this great mojo the minute you walk in.
Yes.
Every guest has the same reaction. It's just, it's transformative. And I walk out, I'm on a high for the afternoon. It's like,
good.
And it's everything. And everyone you have here, like literally from the minute you walk in the door and it's like, hi, Jackie, how are you? And hi, everyone, whoever is here, you just have, when I see Dave in the hallway, where he's walking, whoever,
right.
It's a really special place. It's so unusual on so many ways. One thing I wanted to go back to is you mentioned no sound trucks. Can we talk about that again? And can you explain, because so often you go places and there's that, huge sound truck outside.
Yeah.
But you don't have that.
Well, I say that as a general proposition.
Yeah.
And that was always our intention because I think you were looking to go back and repeat it, and I interrupted you earlier. But everything is integrated.
I could pretty much guarantee I did the interrupting.
No, I think I did at that point. But everything is integrated, so it adds great efficiency. And you come in here, and a lot of stuff is taken care of by Josh, our engineer, who's recording this, and others who are here. You're in very good hands, and the efficiencies that it offers. So the bold thing is we don't need a recording truck come up here. We don't need a TV truck to come up here. But there are occasions when a client believes they need to do so and want to do so, prior relationships, the production company they're working with. But by and large, we try and limit that. And when people appreciate what we offer, then, it's their call.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, the sound that you heard when you were watching Fontaine, D.C.
Yeah.
Pete Oslin, did his research, and who's our director of productions. And we identified the very best sound system for that room. If somebody is coming, a touring band, and they're touring with all their gear and stuff, we will let them know if they want to.
You got it.
If they want to, we can take down our stuff. They can put their stuff up, and then they can take down their stuff and then help us to put back our stuff. But when they hear what our stuff is, oftentimes that's unnecessary because of just what's here. And then the team that knows it best and cares for it best and takes care of it.
Right.
So.
Oh my gosh. I have a feeling we went over on this podcast because I think the clock used to count down and then it goes, I think it started counting up. So I'm not sure because I totally missed any timer, but I didn't want this to end.
Oh.
So I'm good with whatever length this podcast is. We'll find out from Josh after.
Okay. Is he still here?
I have no idea. We'll find out if I totally ignored the clock that I was supposed to watch.
He's the master of the house.
But Peter Ross, General Counsel here at Manhattan Center, thank you so much for your time. I enjoyed the history, really understanding this iconic spot in New York a lot more. It's a treasure. It really is, whether it's a concert or, I'm noticing something on TV and I say, oh, I recognize that. It's just a cool place.
Yeah.
Built from the history, the inside out, and the people.
You sum it up well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak in my own studio. Our own studio. But most especially, thank you for allowing me to be part of this wonderful series that you have developed. And I'm delighted by our collaboration. So
I'm the lucky one. Well, I want to thank you all. This has been the Silver Disobedience Perception Dynamics podcast. I'm Diane Grissel. We have been in iconic Manhattan Center. I've been talking with Peter Ross, who's given us a really great history. And I really recommend follow Manhattan Center to see what's going on here. There's so many cool things going on. Pay attention to their social media feed. Check in on the website. If you're a business, pay attention. When you have an event, this is where you want to have it because it is a cool place, no doubt about it. So come check it out for sure. So yeah, that's a plug, and that's just on my own volition because I just love this place. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe.